Okay, hi guys. Welcome back. So now I'm just gonna focus on just reviewing everything that we've covered so far, the different flashback methods. So in terms of okay, you have starting out with the flashback database. Basically, the flashback database just uses it has its own log stream. So when you basically enable when you issue onto database flashback on, basically you're creating a separate log stream to be able to perform your flashback database. This is the only flashback operation that's using this stream. Um, so basically, again, it's similar to video logs. And and again, so in terms of flashback database, you typically issue a flashback database if you have multiple objects that are dropped. It's not for again. I only performed it for for after dropping one of my tables. But if you would only do it to if you have significant changes to your database and you want to revert it to a previous state. And basically and also just keep in mind that when to be able to perform flashback database, the database has to be offline because it's at the database level. There again, you cannot have other users on the database. And in terms of let me make sure I have this right. So what I'm trying to say is okay, so yes, so as I just said, so this is similar to this is basically this is a semi whole database backup. Um, but then again, you're only capturing, you only rerun the database restore point. This is the SQL command is flashback database to SCN. You can substitute SCN for restore point, and then just to use restore point, you create a restore point. So create restore point, and you assign a restore point name, and um, and I believe the last one should be timestamp. You can also use timestamp. So this should be timestamp. And then the next flashback operation is the flashback table, and then again, so flashback table actually relies on undo, and this is also consider this to be a just another SQL statement. So the database can be active, can be online, and so basically, um, so what you're actually doing is you're just reverting changes that were made to a particular row or to a set of rows inside the database. In terms of flashback operations in general, the database has to be in archive log mode, as I've told you earlier. It has to be in archive log mode, and you have to have flashback on. So this with flashback table again. You can also you can do flashback table as a sys user, and I let me show this way. Exactly. So you cannot flashback a sys table. That's just one of the downside of basically dealing with of flashback. You cannot flashback a sys table, and you cannot. Yeah, that's limitation to the flashback operations. And so basically, if you're logging as any other user, you happen to modify a number of rows and you want to roll those back, you can definitely use a flashback table. And again, you can revert the table to based on a SEN, the timestamp, or SEN timestamp, and also the SEN timestamp. And the next flashback operation is flashback drop. Basically, it actually uses a recycle bin. And as I've showed you, basically, if you're logging as a user, you would issue the show recycle bin to be able to view. After you drop an object, you issue show recycle bin, and you'll be able to view your recycle bin. And also, in terms of what happens to the dropped object, basically, once an object is dropped, it's not basically completely it's not out of the database yet. It's still in recycle bin, and recycle bin has its own purging that it does frequently. But what you can do is, if you really want to get rid of that object, and be proactive about it, what you can do is you can issue a purge recycle bin, and basically get rid of that object immediately. And the command is flashback table. You put your, again, what I'm doing is I'm prefixing. This is an example to performing sys, basically looking into someone doing it before job with someone else's object. So typically you would just say flashback table to before drop, and then you also have the option of renaming that object. So and again, rename table is optional. And then the next flashback operation is the flashback query. And flashback query basically is basically it shows you the content of your database at a certain time point, at a certain time span, or SCN. So basically, what you can do is, let's say you happen to basically just modify some rows, and you're not sure what's really going on anymore. What you can do is you can actually you can query the previous state of your table, and basically just again select select the columns and from and the table name, and then you put in as of timestamp to timestamp, and you can actually again, so here would be the date, and again, so this would actually this would actually match with what you would have in here. So this would be 2014, 04, 06. And then again, so in terms of the hour, this is very important. So if you have H24, that means that you basically you're counting for from 1:24. So if it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon, then it's going to be 13 as opposed to 1. So and the next flashback operation is a flashback version query. Flashback version query is basically, again, it's the same functionality as a query, but basically what you actually are able to view is you're able to view a state between two timestamps. So basically you would say okay, select from table versions between timestamp to timestamp and to timestamp. And also you can also apply this. You can also use versions query with SCN. So again, just be mindful of the again, be mindful of what your SCN is. Be mindful of what your time is. And try not to rely so much on watching the clock, but let's say maybe create a restore point. So you have basically an Oracle created Oracle created values for your SCN, for your restore point, and for your timestamp. Just be very wary of what the timing is for your created objects, for different actions that you're taking inside the database, or basically you would not be able to perform some of these network operations because you don't have the right values for the either for the SCN or for the timestamp. So the next let me make sure I have this right. The next flashback operation is the flashback data archive. So basically, with data archive, this actually just shows you so it shows you the content of a basically, say you create a table. You actually are able to store the content, the transaction on the table for a long period of time, even going past the retention setting, the under retention that you are saying that you configured. So basically, again, to create, let me see if I can. What I'll do is I will actually demo this flashback there archive. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, welcome back. So as I was saying last time, basically you also have the option of creating a flashback data archive. And basically, what I'm gonna do for now is I'm gonna cover a flashback transaction query first. And then I'm gonna go into the flashback data archive. Again, flashback transaction query basically it allows you to roll back the transaction that was committed to the database. Again, so pretty much you have to have a set of privileges to be able to do this. Typically, this is gonna be done by the sysdbs. And basically it's just typical this again you have access to this dictionary view to be able to view to look at what the XID is. XID again is the transaction ID and other details, and basically you have to be able to execute this transaction the transaction backup procedure for you to be able to roll back that transaction. In terms of flashback data archive, basically as I was telling you before, basically it allows you to store content inside of a table for a long period of time. And basically what you'll be doing is you'll be bypassing the typical the configuration, this configuration that you set just for that one table in terms of the under retention. So if you have under retention for 14 days, but you have flashback data archive enabled on that table, then basically the table is gonna be the data inside that table is gonna be available for a period longer than just 14 days. And also what you're able to do with the data archive, you can modify it on the fly, modify retention if you realize that basically you might need it for this historical data for a long period of time, and you can adjust your setting. And also this is all done. Flashback data archive is possible because of the capture background process. Basically what it does is it's going to record the changes inside the database environment. It's going to record the row changes and also the schema changes. So basically what it does is how you're able to store this data for such a long period of time is by compression. The data is going to be compressed inside of that table. And also I mentioned that you can it's preferable for you to just have it on one table and not to have it on too many tables, because it's basically what you're asking or produce you a lot of ordering for your table. So again, just be mindful of of the resources that will be dedicated to ordering this table. And again, just you have access to your historical data, so you'll be able to pull it up at any time to review basically the database the raw data inside of that table. So what I'll do now is I'm going to demonstrate how to basically set up your flashback data archive on your database. So basically, first thing you do is you have to create a table space. So if you look at the first bullet point, it says create table space. So I should be logged in as user sys show user sys. So I'm going to create a table space. Create table space. I'm going to name my table space flash data. I don't want to make it too complicated, but FLDA flashback data archive table space. Yes. Data file. I need to go into my file system. Basically, I need to take this directory, copy it, and paste it. And basically, what I'll do after that is I will put file file name. So FLDAR TB no, FLDAR dot DBF. And then so after that, what I would do is I'll assign a size. So size, I would say, let's say 200 megabytes. And I would also put in enable auto extend, and on next 200 megabytes, and I will assign a max size of 15 gig. So basically, once I've this process, there you go. So it's completed. If I look at my directory, I have my new data file. So what I'll do next is I need to create a flashback archive. So basically, what I'll do is I'm going to run create flashback archive. I'm gonna call my archive FL data archive 1. And actually, what I should have done what I should have done is I should have specified. So flashback data archive is functions based on retention. So since I already have 1 here, so I'm just gonna assign the retention value of 1 year. So what I'll do is again create flashback archive FD on table space, and then it's going to be FLDAR TBS1. Create quota, and then what was it? Assign 15 gig, so 15 gig retention. 1 year. Flashback, my flashback data archive was created. So basically, what I can do now is I can actually just query again, just jumping ahead of what I'm doing just for a quick second. So I can, if I do this, describe db underscore flashback underscore archive. Then if I do this, select flashback underscore archive name, owner name, from dba underscore flashback. Archive. Then basically that's the flashback archive I just created, as you can see. So basically, going back to what I was saying, so after you've created the flashback archive and as well as the table space, what you can do is you can actually you can set a default table space for this flashback archive. So basically, let me show you. No, create a default flashback archive for a particular table space. So basically, that means that the flashback archive that I created, which is this one, would always be basically the default for this table space, even if I was to create a new flashback archive for this table space. So what I'll do is, let's say I want to do that. So what I would do is I would run flashback alter. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Alter flashback archive, and then the name should be FLDAR1 set default. Actually, what just in terms of sending a flashback archive default. What I said was wrong. So basically, you're setting the default flashback archive data archive basically for the entire database, not just for this one table space. So basically, that means that if you were to let's say again, let's say you created an archive, you created a table space, and basically you wanted to you basically you did not assign a flashback a flashback archive to that table space. Then basically what I mean is that the default flashback archive, which is what I've just set mine to, is actually going to be used for that table space. So you can, again, you can just associate the table space directly to the flashback archive, right? Doing the as you're creating both of them. So what I'll do is, okay, I've just set my flashback archive as a default. What I can also do, I can also modify the retention. So if you can remember, I assigned the retention of 1 year. So what I can do is I can alter flashback archive FLDR1 modify retention, let's say 2 year. So basically I've just from 1 year to 2 year modified my retention. And also you can, again, in terms of the modification that you can make, there's a set, there's a there are a number of ways that you can that you can basically adjust the settings for your flashback archive. Just do some research. It's not too difficult. So basically, so if I was to say, again, I've already queried my DBA underscore flashback archive. So next thing I can do is I'm gonna actually create a table. So I'm gonna create a table, example, and select stuff from I'm gonna be selecting from let me see, OE that orders. I really like this table, by the way. So that orders anybody use. Okay, so let me do this, drop table example, create table example, I select, there you go. Okay, so after I've created a table, what I can do is I'm going to associate the table to the flashback data archive that I've already created. So what I'll do is alter table example flashback archive flashback archive FLDAR1. There you go, table's been altered. So if I was to do this, so basically, so now that I have my table linked to a flashback data archive linked to a table space, what that means is basically you're gonna have now, until my retention expires, the data that's being stored inside the table is going to be, again, it's going to be tied to the flashback data archive, and also tied to the table space that I've created as well. So so what I can do is, let's say if I was to delete from example 105 of the deleted, right? So basically, what would happen is that, okay, if I wanted to restore it, this again, flashback data archive is a mixture of, again, you might recognize this query. This is also a flashback query. Let me make sure. You might recognize the SQL statement because you say flashback query. I don't want to confuse you in any way. So so it's going to be select. Let's say if I was to run, if I want to restore my 105 rows. So what I would do is I would run select star from the table is example as of timestamp to, let me make sure, what time is it? 25, let's say possibly 24, to timestamp, no, that's bad, timestamp, date, month is going to be 04/07/2014, time is going to be 9:25, so it's going to be 9:25, actually 24, okay, and then so if I was to cut my, it's going to be month, day, year, and then HH 24 minute second. So I have my 105 rows back by basically by running back that's that select statement. So what I can do is I can actually just restore those rows by running an insert. So insert into example, and then 105 will create it. So if I was to do this, select count from example, I would have 105 rows. And also, just to again, so what I just did is I ran a DML statement. Make sure to always commit if you after restoring your you deleted data. So make sure to commit that. There you go, commit is complete. So basically, again, in terms of in terms of the how to query my past data, I also could use on the sysdate minus again value would be basically 1. So if I was to do this, delete from example, if I delete it. So if I was to run select as of timestamp, and let's say sysdate -1, there you go. It's much simpler, right? So 105, make sure to insert -1, insert into example, select 105, commit. There you go. Okay, and lastly, to review your basically your tables, you can go into the DBA Flashback archive _TS and DBA Flashback _archive _tables. So basically, if I was to describe DBA _flashback _archive _TS, then basically that's what I'll be that's the table space. So if I was to dig deeper, so actually looking into what my values are, so select start from DBA _flashback _archive _TS. So basically, as you can see, flashback archive name is FIDR table space is this one, and quota is 15,360. Of course, the quota that I signed was 15 gigabytes, I believe. So that's basically how you be able to look at figure out what table spaces have which archive and how much quota you have on that table space. And also, if you want to look at which tables which tables are actually also configured with, to be used with archive, then you can describe DBA _flashback _archive _tables. And basically what you can do is you can then query select the so basically if you like, so what this does is, okay, so table name example, owner sys, flashback archive, this one, archive table name is this one, and the status is enabled. So again, so I have my table linked to my data archive, but if I wanted to unlink that table from that archive, what I would do is I would run alter table example no flashback archive, so that if I was to run this, no one was selected, right? Because I just detach my table from my flashback archive. So let me put this away for now. So basically, just going back to the review of the the different flashback types. So basically, you have again, this is for the flashback transaction. You have the no cascade. So no cascade does what it does is basically it's going to raise an if the table, if the transaction that you're trying to roll back has dependencies, and then the no cascade false basically it's gonna roll back that transaction regardless of the dependencies that are basically linked to that transaction. And then you also have non-conflict. Non-conflict basically is just gonna it's gonna roll back only the rows that only the transactions that basically do not have any where there's no conflict in conflict of course. What I'm saying is there is no possibly dependency, or that's something that the non-conflict only would be able to do. So it's definitely gonna perform a rollback. And you also have cascade. So cascade is actually gonna roll back just the dependencies as well as the transactions all together. And then you also have again, so in terms of using Flashback transaction, you have to basically make sure that you have primary key supplemental login enabled, especially on the primary key. So basically, how you would enable supplemental login is you would alter database as supplemental log primary key columns. And also in terms of the Flashback transaction, as I've showed you already, you can also use log. You can use log miner. Basically, again, you need log miner. That's number one. You can access log miner using the command line, or you can access log miner using the Open Enterprise Manager. And also, just for the sake of being cautious, what you can also do, you can just enable supplemental logging for all the data inside your database. So this is just a list of privileges that basically that you're able to assign to different users for the flashback operations. And basically, again, so something that okay, I'm glad that I have this here. So you have this user flashback transaction state. So basically, after you perform a transaction backout, basically you have these two views that are basically that are already part of OCA, but after the procedure is done, those views are filled with data from the backout process, the rollback process. So basically, with the flashback transaction state, it actually holds the data on the transaction that were eliminated, what mode they're in, and also what the dependencies were for that transaction. And also the other view that's also created is again, it's going to be very user specific. So it's going to be flashback underscore tx and underscore report. And then again, so basically it's gonna report also on the transaction that was rolled back, but also gonna report on the compensating transaction. And in terms of the flashback data archive is also referred to as a total recall, as you can see. And basically, as I've already mentioned, basically you have compression data, you have auditing, and then auditing is only allowed is permitted, on a per table basis. So, and basically, again, you can imagine that it's going to eat up a lot of resources. Um, and in terms of historical data, that the historical data cannot be deleted because again you have retention. And then but definitely present data can be deleted because what you're doing is you're actually just again for example what I was doing is I was deleting my present data to be able to restore it to show you how you can bring back deleted rows. And as I've said already, every row in schema is captured and recorded inside of the by the capture process. So that's how the table space is being filled by these uh, these these pieces of information that were captured. And then also in terms of 12C specifically, basically you also have you have this parameter called temp undo enable. So if I was to query show parameter undo, you have temp undo enable. This is a 12C it's a recent feature it's only available in 12C. And basically what this does is it's gonna split undo logs into into temporary undo logs and permanent undo logs. So basically what that means is that temporary undo logs, so basically those are gonna expire. Those are gonna expire, temporary. There's a purge method associated with temporary storage. But in terms of the permanent the permanent undo, then basically again you have to refer to retention. So that's just the way that Oracle just has decided to basically divide the storing mechanism for your undo data. And then so basically what this does is it actually leads to less storage space that's needed. And of course, the retention is much more meaningful because you're only targeting a specific set of data, of undo data. So, and this is also this is a graph that I found online. So basically, this is just to show you that Flashback is a much faster recovery method when compared to restore and recover with RMAN. So this is the timing. So again, minutes wise, you have 2 minutes with the size of 10 gig. That's pretty fast as opposed to 51 minutes. So again, just to sort of bring this home. Basically, in terms of Flashback, you can Flashback database requires you to have the database offline. Every other Flashback operations, you can have the database online. System table spaces, the sys schema cannot basically drop any table because you can't perform Flashback before drop on a system schema. So again, just those little facts you have to get accustomed to in terms of using the Oracle Flashback technology. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.